Next up, we're going to hear from Adam Borovkoff. He's down at the end there. He's the Web Content Specialist for Disability Rights California, and he's become our expert since his employment at Disability Rights California on making websites accessible and also making materials accessible. So he's going to talk today about how to make information accessible. I'm also proud to say that he was another hiring decision by me.
Brilliant.
So, another good one. Did we have something you wanted me to pull up on this?
No, it's actually, it's okay. I can just work, because I want you all to be thinking. I want you to put your thinking caps on for this part. So, what is accessibility and what does it mean for electronic information? It means a lot. The world has changed a lot. You probably all know, you probably all carry smartphones with you. Accessibility is inclusive design, and that's how we all need to think about it. It's including everybody. It's for people with disabilities, and it's for people without disabilities. Imagine if we filed our taxes, and those tax forms were accessible. You'd actually want to maybe do your taxes and submit them on time. But unfortunately, our taxes are not accessible. The forms are not accessible. They're hard to understand. They're complicated. They are not in plain language. They do not translate well into other languages for monolingual communities. So accessibility, when we talk about inclusive design, we're talking about people with disabilities, people without disabilities, people who never graduated maybe 6th grade, maybe people who have limited English proficiency, it's not their first language at all. Accessibility involves people who have visual disabilities, who depend on assistive technology to read information to them. Accessibility includes people who need visual images. I think Miranda is going to be talking a little bit about that. And Fred talked a little bit about how, accessibility kind of involves a bunch of people with different disabilities and people without disabilities. And this world is moving to a more accessible future. Voting needs to move there as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about things you can look for and things to be aware of when you're creating materials, both for a campaign, a voting campaign, or you're passing out materials, information materials, how to vote materials, anything like that. Keys to an accessible electronic document. So the first thing to understand is what you think of as an image may not be an image to somebody else. For instance, a logo. DRC's logo has DRC, and then below it has Disability Rights California on it. Is that an image or is that text? Is that a word? That's an image, actually. It's one block cell. So if you're creating a document and you wonder if something is an image, let's say we're working in Word, a lot of people work in Word, and you click on a letter or a piece of text, and a large box surrounds a bunch of text, chances are you're looking at an image and not text. So to you and I, people with vision, we may see text and we may not understand, well, how can somebody who's blind not read that text? What's up with that? Because that's an image. And people who have assistive technology devices or depend on assistive technology software to help them navigate or to read a document see that as blank image. So if it's an important piece of information, like where a map maybe to get to a polling place, that's going to be read as blank image. You're giving them no information. How do you fix an image? How do you make an image accessible to a huge audience? So first, many people in many different types of communities will really value the image of the map to the polling place. But you have to tag that image also for people who cannot see the map. And tagging an image is really simple in software. And basically, you're looking through your help system. So if you have a Word, if you're using Word or WordPerfect, I'm not sure anyone uses WordPerfect anymore, but maybe. I'm trying to be inclusive. So if you are, or in Pages in an Apple program, you would use Pages. You want to search in your search help menu for the phrase alternative text. And that's going to point you to how to add alternative text to that image. So in Word, it's really easy. You just right-click on that thing that you think is an image, and one of the options is to format the image. And then you're going to click on Format, and it's going to pull up a little window, and it's going to say, what alternative text would you like to enter? How do we enter alternative text? How do we describe? The map might be complicated, so I would probably, instead of using alternative text for a map, I might have a paragraph before the image that says the map below shows the directions to the polling place as give the address, tell them directions, just like the map would tell you. Then tag the image, this is the map to the polling place. Simple. If it's a graph showing that on a certain day puppy dogs are on sale at the nearest pet store, you're going to say on Monday, February 13th, puppy dogs are on sale at this supermarket. You're going to describe exactly what the image is. Is that this is an image of people at a polling place. This is an image of a polling machine. Let the person have the experience of what that image is. Tables cause lots of problems for people. They cause problems for people who have learning disabilities as well as people who use assistive technology. Tables could be a stumbling block. Keep your tables simple. 4 columns, 4 rows, every cell has text in it. Perfect. That's probably going to be an accessible table. The first thing you want to think about is, does it need to be a table? Tables are meant to hold tabular data, where you take the column and the row, you line them up, and then that cell equals the column and the row. If your table does not do that, it should not be a table. Plain language. Plain language. Most Americans read at a 6th grade reading level. We want to strive to achieve inclusive design. So we want to make sure that our instructions and our flyers and our manuals read at as close to 6th grade level as possible. If you're using Word, you can turn on your reading level checker with your spell check. And I recommend everybody does that. You do it in your preferences in Word, and that way anytime you check a document for spelling, it's going to bring back your reading level. You can check a sentence, you can check a paragraph, and figure out which paragraphs and which sentences are causing the reading level of your document to go to too high of a level.
Excuse me, my apologies. What was the reading level you said we had?
6th grade level. And you want to strive to that. And if you're working with legal documents like we at DRC, it's always a struggle with attorneys when they say something to me and I'm like, what? That's exactly. It's hard. But there are websites available for you. I think it's plainlanguage.org. Will give you references to legal jargon that can translate into plain language, because you don't want to lose the meaning, but you want them to understand it. Fonts and readability are important. You want to make sure you use at least a 14-point font on anything that's printed. And there's a lot of conjecture going on about what font is easier to read, a sans serif font, like Times New Roman, or an Arial font. And the real answer is that an Arial font or a sans serif font is easier in electronic media, whereas Times New Roman is what you'll read in a newspaper where it's hard copy, or an encyclopedia that's hard copy. So as long as you're using a large enough font size at your minimum setting, you're probably going to be okay. And that's helping and benefiting people with limited vision. And we all know also that in California, well, actually in the nation, we have the silver tsunami upon us right now. And that means that the greatest number of population of this country is over the age of 65 now. So they all are struggling with vision loss. So it's very important that that font size stay fairly large. And you can always go bigger, but 14-point fonts is about where the experts say the minimum should be. And document formats is my last thing, and that is, document formats means what is an accessible kind of document that you can send to someone. So there are all kinds of accessible documents. The two most simple, actually I'm going to give you 3 to start. The first, most simple and basic, is an HTML document. That's what your web pages are. They are highly, highly accessible. And as our society moves to mobile technology and we're moving around with smartphones, almost everything you get on that smartphone, all that data and text is coming to you via HTML. And that's why each of the smartphones, no matter what operating system they're on, understand that simple language and turn it into a document that looks nice on your device. HTML reads well on screen readers and assistive technology devices that are used by the blind. It just is a smoother, easier language, and probably eventually will overtake every other text option that we have. A Word document is very accessible as long as you're using tagging images. It translates very well into screen readers and assistive technology devices. A RTF, rich text format document, which you can save from Word, is also accessible. A PDF you have to be aware of. You have to know that PDFs are not always accessible. You have to treat them differently. They have to be tagged, and there's special attention paid to that. Spreadsheets are accessible, but any blank worksheets that are in your spreadsheet need to be deleted. So if you have one worksheet, if you open Excel and you're starting a spreadsheet, it always starts with 3 worksheets automatically. Delete the blank ones. And the reason is assistive technology will continue to move through blank cell after blank cell for infinity, and the person will be lost. And that's about it for me. Text like text messages and text files are also highly accessible because there's no image base, and they translate well into assistive technology as well. Okay. So.